How's it going? Welcome back. So we're gonna continue solving equations. Now we're gonna solve equations with variables on both sides, which is gonna make it a little bit more complex, more difficult, but at the end it's going to be the same process. So don't be intimidated by the equations you're gonna see. As long as you follow the same process of simplification, as long as you follow the process of making zeros, making ones, and staying consistent, you're gonna be totally fine. All right. So if we go to number one, again, you're gonna notice that there is two variables, one on each side. I'm gonna go ahead and draw my line because that should be the first thing you do. So then you kind of gotta ask yourself this question before you even start anything. So when you have two variables and there's variables on both sides, you gotta ask yourself this question: where do I want my variable to be? Once you answer your question, then you can go ahead and start either simplifying or solving. Now, in my case, I want all the variables, so I want all the x's on the left side of the equation, all right? Which means that I gotta move 2x to the left. Well, how do I do that? I can't just rewrite it and put it on the other side, all right? That's out of the question. So how do I get rid of 2x? Well, the only way to get rid of something is by making it a zero. So how do we make a zero? We either make a zero by adding or subtracting. And this is where it gets difficult because now you're breaking rules or you're making procedure, which is totally fine. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and make 2x into a zero. So to make 2x into a zero, I'm gonna minus it. I'm gonna minus itself. So I'm gonna minus 2x, and whatever I do to one side, I'm gonna go ahead and do to the other. Now you gotta be careful here, because on the left side now you have a 5x, and now you have a -7. Well, you gotta think about like terms. I cannot subtract 2x to 7 because 7 doesn't have an x. So I can only do that to the 5x because x or 5 does have an x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x to the 5x. All right? And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the math. Left to right. 5x minus 2x is going to be 3x. I'm going to drop the -7 because I didn't touch it. Cool. Equals 2x minus 2x. We know that it equals 0. And I'm just going to drop the 14. All right? Cool. Now it looks much simpler. It looks like something we've done before, so you can go ahead and start solving. Now, my x is on the left side, which means that you got to get rid of everything that it's on the left side, which means I got to make that -7 into a 0, so I'm going to go ahead and add 7. If I'm doing it to the left, you got to do it to the right. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do the math. So, left to right, I'm going to drop the 3x. -7 plus 7 equals 0. 14 plus 7 equals 21. And I'm almost there. So I still got to get that 3x to equal 1x. Or I want to turn it into a 1x. So how do I make a 3 into a 1? Well, we can divide it by itself. Whatever I do to the left, I'm going to do to the right. And I'm just going to go ahead and solve it. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So I'm left with 1x equals 21 divided by 3, which is going to be 7. Okay? And that is my answer. All right. Now I just wanna kind of point out something. You do not have to write 1x equals 7. Your answer could just be x equals 7. There's no problem with that. All right. So I just wanted to point that out. Perfect. So let's go ahead and do the next example. So for number 2. Number 2 looks quite difficult, quite complex. It looks longer, which means that we're probably going to have to simplify before we even try to do anything. All right? So let's go ahead and simplify what we can. Once again, I want to start by drawing my line in the middle so I can tell which one is the left and which one is the right. All right, so I'm going to start with the left. On the left, there's no parentheses, all right, which means that we do not have to simplify, or we do not have to use the distributive property. But I do see some common like terms. I see the 3x and I see the 4x, which means that I can actually put those together into one. So if I combine those, I'm going to be left with, so I have 3x plus 4x, which is 7x. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and drop the, actually I want to write that in blue. So I got 7x, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the negative 10. Cool. Now, let's go to the left side. So on the left side, I got a few things. First of all, I can see already that I have a parenthesis, which means I'm going to have to distribute. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, notice that the 2 has a negative in front of it, which means that if you distribute that number, you also got to distribute a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute negative 2 into x and negative 2 into negative 4. And let's see what I'm left with. Negative 2 times x equals negative 2x. Okay. Negative 2 times negative 4 equals plus 8. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop the negative 9. All right. Cool. We're not done yet. I see that I have 2 like terms. I cannot combine the negative 2x with anything because it has an x. But I can combine the 8 and the 9, and I can put them together. So at the end, I'm going to be left with negative 2x, and I got a positive a and a negative 9, which makes positive 17. Cool. So my left side has been simplified. Now I can go ahead and solve it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this again. That way they're at the same level, and I can focus on solving. Cool. All right. So kind of back to the first example, it depends where you want to have your x. So to me, again, I want to put all of my x's on the left side, so which means I got to move that negative 2x. So same thing. How can I move it? Well, I need to get rid of it. How can we get rid of something? Well, we have to make it into a 0. Cool. So let's go ahead and add negative 2x to make it a 0. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to go ahead and do it to the other. And again, you got to make sure that you add the 2x to something that has a 2x, which the 7 does. So I'm able to add 2x into 7x. Let's go ahead and do the math. 7x plus 2x equals 9x. I'm going to go ahead and drop the negative 10. Negative 2x plus 2x equals 0. And I can go ahead and drop 17. Cool. Now it looks much, much, much easier to something that you know how to do already. Cool. Let's go ahead and get that x by itself. I need to get rid of that negative 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Let's go ahead and do the math. Drop the 9x. Negative 10 plus 10 equals 0. 17 plus 10 equals 27. And the last step is going to be to make that 9 into 1. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it by itself. And then just do the math. 9 divided by 9 equals 1. So I'm left with 1x equals 27 divided by 9, which is 3. All right. And again, you can write the answer as x equals 3. You don't necessarily need to write the 1 in front of it. All right. So that's it. That's how you solve equations with variables on both sides.